What's up, Nitro Gang? In the last video on this HPI Nitro MT, I was trying to hit 50 miles an hour with this. And unfortunately, my run got cut short a little bit there, but I did get a top speed of 48, which is actually very, very surprising for a single speed with a stock motor.
Whoa! We got 48. Do I have 50? Let's keep going. 48 so far.
Now the engine is not in the car right now. We're gonna take a look at it. Of course, I'm having the classic one-way bearing slippage issue, so we're gonna remove this back plate. We're gonna try to fix it. Take a look at this picture from the HPI website. This model obviously is discontinued. It says top speed 73 kilometers per hour. That is 45 miles an hour. I hit a little bit more, 3 more miles an hour, so 48 miles an hour. That's actually very, very good. I'm surprised. Many of you were relatively close in your estimated speed claims. I asked you guys to put down how fast you think it's gonna be. Some said, you know, high 30s, some said mid 40s. Very few of you said low 50s. So I would say if this was a curve, this by far surpassed the expectations of, like, you know, how you would have a normal distribution of speed claims. And guys, we're not only going to be taking a look at this engine, we're not only going to be taking a look at the one-way bearing, which is like the troublemaker on about 50% of the Nitro RCs I have, including T-Max Tony's T-Max. That's right, the classic T-Max over there also has a slipping one-way bearing. This is relatively easy to work on. It's just a back plate. I'm going to remove it. We're going to take a look inside. There is a method people use, and I've seen this on the Bug404's channel. Look him up, guys. He's one of my friends in real life and also a YouTuber I watch. Basically, the method is you remove the entire backplate assembly here. Your goal is to get to the starting shaft that the bearing sits on, and we'll do this in a little. You're gonna have to try to kind of like score it a little bit. Just so you know, before the last video, I also cleaned the one-way bearing. I used some brake parts cleaner. It was spinning, it was catching just fine. In that one run, the one-way bearing is now again slipping. So clearly this is an old motor. There's also oil all around this crankcase. This leads me to believe I'm probably missing a seal here in the exhaust port. And I'm actually looking at it right now, and yeah, there's absolutely no exhaust gasket here. I've never removed the engine from this truck, so yeah, this is gonna be pretty much a finding for me also. Hopefully I have a gasket. We'll see if that fixes some of the, you know, dirty crankcase issue here. I personally don't like when my Nitro engines are dirty. You know, it just pisses me off. By the way, here is my Mavic Mini drone. I know I bought this like a super long time ago. I never unboxed it. I just really got out of the drone hobby, you know, more or less concentrating on Nitro RC now. But yeah, the footage from this was incredible. Maybe I'll include some in this video. I included some in the prior video. Really, really good, stable drone. I was flying it at nearly like, you know, 13 to 15 mile per hour wind. And it was going like, you know, it was fighting. But the footage from the camera, incredibly good. I know many of you guys asked me to review this. Well, it's good. I like it. So far, no flyaways. The GPS sensitivity is very good. I'm not testing the range right now, you know, but eventually I will be doing that. Maybe I'll include some shots in this video from it if I feel like it. I'm also going to be taking this out. A viewer of mine asked to see some running video footage of this. I have actually never ran this. This is a Drift RC. It's the Mission D Drift from Hobbyking. It's discontinued, so I really haven't done any follow-up on this. I put this together. I more or less just drifted like inside the house. It was very cheap, about 75 bucks, I think, if I remember correctly. It was all painted, as you see here. It just came almost ready to run. I had to, you know, just get my own electronics, which I have. But let me show you guys the chassis. So today we're gonna do maybe a small drift with it outside. They just paved the roads where I live, so, you know, it should be okay. Yeah, it's basically a bagel. You know Daniel Nunez? You know who you are. You know what I'm talking about. This is an everything bagel. Either way, guys, I'm just kidding. This is, you know, it's an entry-level drift car. It has plastic wheels. It's cool looking. Stock motor. Everything is stock. My own, you know, receiver here from the Fly Sky systems. Well, the wing fell off. Gotta hot glue that back. That's not it. I have a special surprise for you. Just so you know who you're dealing with, I have my 8th grade report card. That's right, the final report card from 8th grade. Look at my average, guys. 95. That's who you're dealing with right here. 1 absent, 0 late. Look at my sequential math score. I got 100. That's right. That's who you're dealing with. Just so you know, when you're watching the Nitro Gang, you're watching educational Nitro RC television. I don't know how else to call it. This is what it is. Let's take this motor apart, see what the trouble is. It's engine time. Let me demonstrate to you with the engine out of the car how you can tell that your one-way bearing is spinning, other than the obvious fact that your engine will not start. So this is what happens. We're going to insert a rotor start in the back plate, right? I'm going to hold it like this. Look at the flywheel itself. Now, it should be turning each time that our rotor start shaft here spins, but check this out. Yeah, it's literally, it's slipping. Right. You see that, guys? As you just saw, the flywheel was not spinning when I was engaging the rotor start. Now, you could have a pull start, you could have a Traxxas easy start system. It doesn't really matter. They all use a very similar style of one-way bearing in the back, and over time, they either get dirty or the engine just puts out way too much oil in the back and it starts slipping just because of old age and wear. By the way, today we're working on my 25-pound plate. The reason is, I'm trying to put myself in the mood for lifting some weights later on, you know? Alright, it's off. So you guys will see what I'm talking about. Yeah, so here we go. It's a regular starting mechanism. There's really nothing crazy here, just a couple of gears inside there. This is the troublemaker right here. Now, if you spin it with your hand, you guys see that, what I'm doing? It's not constantly catching. This thing catches once in a while, but sometimes it slips. Now, the reason they call this a one-way bearing is because it's clearly supposed to spin only one way. It's supposed to spin free this way, and when you spin it clockwise, right, this direction, it is supposed to start spinning the flywheel here. That is how we get movement. Okay, so we're going to remove it. Eventually, the oil makes its way through here, and there's really nothing you could do. Right now, I'm going to try to score up this starting shaft with some kind of either sandpaper or something else. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to put some scoring marks on it. The goal here is to get the little needle bearings inside this one-way bearing. It's hard to tell, but you guys can see there are little bearings inside there. We have to get those to grab better on the starting shaft of the motor itself. First, I'm going to go wash this out. I'll be using this brake parts cleaner. You could really use gas, you could use anything, it doesn't matter. As long as you get the oils off of the bearing itself. Bearing is clean. Let's now clean the shaft itself. Alright, that should be fine. Just to demonstrate what I just did, you'll notice if I start spinning this without doing anything else further, watch this, guys. Right now, it's catching. You know, I can't spin it the other direction. You guys see how I'm spinning it now? It could only spin one direction now. I cannot spin it this direction. If I do, you'll notice the flywheel is now going to be engaging. Oh, it's hard to spin this over. It's too much compression. Obviously, the best remedy would be to replace whatever parts that are causing oil to go past the back plate. Now, I don't have that, you know, luxury. These parts are not cheap, and honestly, I don't feel like doing it. So we're going to try this first. If this doesn't work eventually, we will have to try something else. There we go. Looks good. Home point recorded. Let's look down at the car right here. Oh yeah, there's the car. Let's see how good my drifting skills are gonna be actually. First, let me position this somewhere where I could actually position it and see what I'm doing. I'm gonna fly over. I have like a cone over there. You guys see that cone right there? Let's look down. I don't know how good I'm gonna do with this, but I'm wondering whether I should raise it a little bit more. Yeah, I'm gonna raise it a little. That should be adequate. Yeah, it's pretty good steering throw. The body's not hitting anything. And this is like the factory ride height. I didn't mess with anything. Stock system, you know, some people said, why don't you put a brushless in this? You really don't need a brushless in this because it's not gonna go really any faster unless you have like road tires or foam tires. This is what recording actually looks like, guys. Sometimes you gotta look like an idiot in front of people you sometimes know, sometimes don't know. Oh man, bad drift, bad drift. Nissan GTR, you know, Hobbyking's rendition of it. Not a bad car overall, I like it. For like a $75 RC, the handling here, superb, guys. In terms of, you know, the drift. We're after the drift. And I'm getting like some of it. I'm getting a little bit better. This is new pavement. Oh man, that's a good drift. I think I'm proud of myself. I'm a little bit proud of myself so far. Look at that drift. I did like a full circle so far. I'm getting better. Getting better. I'm getting a little better. I think Tanner Faust from Top Gear, he'll be a little bit maybe proud of me. This is like, you know, a pretty steep learning curve for a drift car, but I seem to be getting the hang of it with this chassis. Well, up until now. All right, let's do some donuts. What I'm about to do is a little departure from the methods I've seen people do. I'm gonna use a freaking Dremel. So I'm only gonna attempt to score up a little bit around the circumference here of the starting shaft. This is a little bit risky, but sometimes, you know, the Nitro Gang, we gotta take the risks. I'm gonna do a couple around the circumference here. I'm not pressing much at all. I'm just trying to create a couple grooves for the roller pins to catch. There is a good amount of sparking going on. All right, that should be okay. I'm gonna clean it up with the brake parts cleaner. Oh yeah. You know, I didn't score it up way too much. If you look at the shaft close up, you can barely see any scoring lines on it. We still have a lot here to mess up if we want to go any more, but I'm just trying to take this one step at a time, see what the safe limit is. I don't want to take off too much material because then the roller bearings in the one-way bearing will not catch at all. Let's see, hopefully it still catches. Okay, yeah. I'm spinning it with one finger, you know, this direction, and it does not spin the other way. You guys can see that? Yeah. So far, so good. Oh, so much compression. I can't really spin this over. I'm gonna spin this over with my finger here, and then we'll use the bearing. Okay. Yeah, it's catching. Now, of course, when, you know, oils make its way past the backplate assembly here, the situation could change. It might need a little bit more work. But this is, you know, one of those trial and error methods on how to get your nitros running and not spend any money. Now all I need is to get an exhaust gasket here because I'm literally missing a freaking exhaust gasket. So somebody bolted this header directly onto the motor without a gasket. That's why there's a whole bunch of oils coming from all around. You know, the entire engine block is caked in oil. Not good. Right now is also a good time to examine the clutch. I have never removed it, but I think I am going to be replacing this giant washer here in the front, which, you know, as I spin it, yeah, it creates a little bit of extra friction. It's a little bit noisy. I don't like it. I like to use these Traxxas Teflon washers. Let's see what we got. We got one washer, and we got a second washer. Yeah, so it looks like one might have actually been enough. I don't know. Oh, wow. Inside of the clutch bell is good. I see very, very minimal wear. Bearings are okay. Clutch in this thing is actually a 2-shoe aluminum clutch. Man, the HPI G 3.0 surprised me yet again. Nice setup over here. I like this. This is way more sturdy than the Teflon system they use. And these springs are also pretty sturdy. Better than that circular spring that a lot of these older HPI motors use. Pretty good. Pretty good. HPI for the win. As I expected, I've got another clutch discovery. There were 4 washers in here, guys. 4 of them. So there's a little bit of a space here on top of the clutch bell, right? So yeah, you gotta use some washers, but I don't think you need 4. 4 is a lot. I'm gonna try to replace, you know, 2 of these with one of these Teflon ones and maybe use 2 of these originals. Put one original washer in first, then the Teflon on top. You know, this is not like an exact science here. There's absolutely no overlap here on top of the clutch bell. So we had a whole bunch of extra washers here, and that's probably why it was really tight. It was a little bit noisy. Now, it didn't wear down. Yeah, that's the upside. But yeah, I like my drivetrain smooth, guys. The smoother the better. There's always a discovery to be made when you're dealing in old nitros. Yet again, this has proven to be one of those times. A little too much thread lock. I'm gonna wipe it off. I don't like the residue it leaves. It's still a little noisy. What happened was there was too much of a gap being created by not enough washers here on the pilot shaft. Now, when I put the clutch bell back on, listen to this, guys. No noise. You hear that? Look how smooth and silent that is. No noise at all. And now we have a very even surface for the screw to go into, and absolutely no noise at all. So that was a good indicator that our shimming was improper. In fact, I had to add 2 extra washers there to the pilot shaft for the clutch bell to sit on. Job done. The final product. Listen to this. No noise at all. Look at that. It even spins absolutely freely now. No wobble in the clutch bell. It's very clean, very even. This is how you want your clutch belt to be attached. So whenever you're disassembling this, take note of how it's literally sitting on the flywheel and the clutch. Any sort of wobble here over time will destroy the bearings inside. Now this system has pretty generic bearings. They're easy and simple to replace, but you know, you're gonna have problems in your drivetrain. You can actually wind up stripping your spur gear if this really gets out of hand. So job well done. Let's move on. Finally, we're done. I have the engine back in the car. Everything is secured. The mesh is adjusted. We're not going to cover this. Let's check whether the one-way bearing will now spin the flywheel. It is good, guys. I can hear it engaging. The one-way bearing is not slipping right now. Now, obviously, this will have to first run a tank of fuel, and then I'm going to have to follow up with you later. But for now, job well done. Scoring the shaft, as you can tell, did not destroy anything. This might actually be a worthwhile fix. NITROGANG, as I promised, my report card from 8th grade. This is 2001, the final report card. I was in Louis Armstrong Middle School. Louis Armstrong is a famous American jazz musician. This is a pretty good middle school in Queens. Let's check out my average. Yep, young T-Max Tony right here. 95.46 GPA, guys. Let's see what we got here. Language arts, 95. Science, man, I love science. 93 final. Looks like I went down here a little bit. 96, 95, 93. What happened? Social studies, 95. What is this? Spanish. Oh yeah, I took Spanish. I actually kind of like Spanish. 97 final grade. Amazing. Of course, I already speak a different language other than English, so technically you can consider me a trilingual speaker here. You know, gym, 97. NITROGANG never stays weak. We always stay strong, you know? Now this is something I'm really proud of. Sequential math. A pleasure to have in class. Have a great summer. Regents exam grade. 100% with a smiley face. The final grade was actually 98, but you know, this is one of those classes that terminate in a test, so 100. Can't go above 100. That's why, you know, we got ourselves some Nitro Math Guru going on here. When we want to figure out how much faster we need to go, we just add a couple teeth to the clutch belt here on this motor, and we get those speeds. The rest of these are more or less just electives. You could see we have like either a pass or I don't know what this O is here, but yeah, so in the electives I passed. There was just, you know, pass or fail, you know, mostly if you didn't show up.